Well, that was something as the Sixers lose their 7th in a row, falling to the Brooklyn Nets 105-103 on a Saturday night. We did not want overtime, but we also wanted to see them snap their losing streak. That did not happen as Nic Claxton secures the offensive rebound.
Not everybody.
At the buzzer. Well, you're right.
Not everybody wanted to see them win.
Right. At the buzzer, 105-103. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Rich Hoffman, Devon Givens, Bree, all of you. Joel Embiid benched in the fourth quarter. We have to talk about that. I'm sure we'll talk about that right at the top as they make this furious comeback. They take the lead. Nets tie it up. Sixers take a lead again. Nets tie it up eventually again. Same thing. They're going back and forth. As Mark Zumoff would say, they want a seesaw. And then in the end, Nic Claxton wins the game for the Brooklyn Nets. They now have tied up the season series, which is important at 2-2 because of the playoff implications for the play-in tournament. They are right now up on the 76ers in the standings at the moment, and again, tying them up because of the victory tonight.
Are they up in the standings?
Well, we'll see.
Depends on how you look at it.
Depends on how you look at it. So we'll get to that part. We'll get to the player of the game. We'll also get to the guys from the arena tonight as well. We have it all for you. We got you covered. Bree, Rich, myself, we're hanging out with you on this Saturday night to talk a little Sixers hoops. And are we going right away to the takeaways on this one? Because I'm sure Embiid being benched is going to be a part of the conversation that we had and how things looked a little differently when he was not on the floor. So whenever we're ready for the three takeaways, we'll get to the three takeaways. But this was something, man. They were down by as many as 17 points in this one, Rich. Being down by 17, we're looking at this one thinking they're going to get their doors blown off again to the Brooklyn Nets, who were without D'Angelo Russell while they were shooting the lights out overall. It was guys, Keon Johnson, Zaire Williams, hooping, Trenton Wofford coming off the bench, scoring 11 points in the fourth quarter. I'm sitting there saying, I like how old men games translate onto the basketball floor, but I don't like his, and he is cooking them tonight. And he was getting wherever he wanted to in this one. And as it kept going along, you saw some energy, some things pick up. Quentin Grimes really digging in defensively. Kelly Oubre getting it going as well on the defensive end. I looked at Rich and Bree and said, where in the world is Gershon Yabusele? What's happening? He comes in. You could see how things change with him out there on the floor. And unfortunately, though, Rich, it wasn't enough because they lose this one at the buzzer by 2. 20-36 now on the campaign.
20-36, not very good.
With 26 remaining.
And you nailed it. Gershon Yabusele, the game changed when he came in as the center down the stretch. But as you said off the top, the biggest takeaway tonight, the number one thing that everybody should be talking about, everybody should be focused on, is that Joel Embiid got benched in the fourth quarter. And he should have gotten benched in the fourth quarter.
Should have gotten benched in the third quarter somewhere along the line in the third quarter.
He technically did. He got taken out with like 2 seconds left in the third quarter. No, I'm kidding. You're absolutely right. Anyway, for the last decade, Devon, the whole Sixers experience has been, oh man, they are getting fried when Joel Embiid is off the floor. And because Joel Embiid is super banged up, like I want to get that off the top, like he is extremely hurt right now. You can see him limping up and down the court. He is actually a drag on them. It's the exact opposite right now. Since he has returned from injury these past 5 or 6 games.
On the back on this one.
You're absolutely right. I was going to give you credit for that because you were ahead on that. Because I have come to the take that you have had.
Yeah.
That they need to shut him down for the rest of the year. Whatever, if that is what we're going to get from him, in a game, I don't think that's going to get better by him continuing to play and fight through it. I just think he was terrible tonight, and it was kind of sad to watch, honestly. He was one of the greatest one-on-one scorers of his generation like 12 months ago, man, 13 months ago. And now he's a guy, he can't catch the ball. He misses layups. He's bricking threes. He can't take anybody one-on-one. There was a possession in the third quarter that's sticking out to me where he had to take Claxton one-on-one. It was one of the few times the Nets didn't double him, and they shouldn't have doubled him as much as they did all night because, I mean, they were playing into his hands. He wants to pass it. He tried to go one-on-one. Claxton steals the ball. Nets get a layup on the other end. He's a guy that when he tries to make a one-on-one move now, guys, his knee buckles, right? You see it. You see him fall to the floor, and it's really painful to watch. And then on the defensive end, I mean, man, he used to take on the challenge of, it wasn't all the time, but when a point guard would get switched on to him, he would take on the challenge of guarding him on the perimeter. And sometimes the point guard would score. Sometimes he would stop him, but he would be able to move laterally and try and work and put out the fire in those situations. And right now, Nic Claxton is going by him consistently. Nic Claxton, a guy he has owned throughout his career, even in the playoffs, with them getting in little fights and little skirmishes and Joel trolling him after it's over. Yeah. He plays no transition defense. He offers very little help at the rim. In fairness, the perimeter defense outside of Quentin Grimes is awful, is terrible, but he's not offering any resistance, and it's a bummer. And like this version of him, it's the exact opposite of what he has been throughout his career, where he has been the guy, even when he's not scoring, he's the guy. His mere presence, as he has mentioned, like it changes the game. The guy I saw tonight, and really the guy we've seen for the 5 or last 6 games, it's the opposite. He's actually a drag on them. Like they started to play better when Yabusele came in the game. That is a complete bummer. And I have come to your point of view that if that's going to be the case, shut it down, John Taffer style. People are getting sick in the restaurant. Shut it down. And we'll see you next year because it was really hard to watch tonight.
It really was. And of course, I kid about the pat myself on the back thing. It was just a funny part that we had on the show earlier in the week, right? When we were talking about this with Derek and Kyle and Rich and I and Bree for the postgame show on Thursday, pregame and postgame show on Thursday. And my rationale was basically what we saw tonight. Number one, they are no longer a championship contender for the rest of the 24-25 campaign. Yep. They're not going to win the championship. The reason why you push through it and have him out there on the floor is if you have some real belief that you can win. They can't.
And not even a championship. Like win, a belief that you can do something positive in the playoffs, win a round, something like that. And that is pretty much gone.
They can't.
They can't.
So with them unable to do so, and you also finding a different type of way to play Sixers basketball for the remainder of the season, we talked about Tyrese Maxey so much in the pregame where it needed to really funnel through him. And tonight it really did funnel through him, where Embiid was a willing passer and looking for Tyrese Maxey to really get him going. But you saw how stagnant it was even in the half-court set at times because of them trying to get him the basketball. He's settling for three-pointers where he doesn't typically do that. He will take them within the flow of the offense. He was settling for them because he did not have the burst off the catch to get to his spot, whether at the free throw line for the hesitation jump shot or the pull-up jumper there, or to put the ball on the floor to drive to the basket by Nic Claxton or any defender, Day'Ron Sharpe, that he would get both of those centers in foul trouble and get them off the floor and dare them to double team and dare them to do certain types of junk defenses to slow him down. That's why I said I thought that it was in their best interest for them and most importantly, him, to sit out the remainder of the season, whether it's rehab, surgery, whatever direction they decided they needed to go to get him right, to get him off the floor, and to get him back to where he discussed post-game on Thursday of where he needs to be the better version of himself in this latter part of his career. That was not it tonight. That's the very reason why we discuss and start off the show of they might have to really think long and hard about sitting him down for the remainder of this campaign, because that is not the Joel Embiid you want to have out there on the floor. If you are trying to win and get into the postseason, play in or otherwise, he is going to be slowing you down. He's going to take you away from the fast-paced game that we saw them playing much better during that stretch of the 4-game winning streak and even the 2 games that they lost to Denver and Boston back-to-back. He was unavailable for those games. They played better at that speed. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win double-digit games or go on a 10-game winning streak. I'm just simply talking about a better product out there on the floor and a better opportunity to win.
You're right.
When we discussed it in the pregame of, hey, he's going to have to not only go out there and decide, let me hand this off to Tyrese Maxey and allow him to be the focal point of our offense, but it was also going to be the mental game. And as Rich alluded to, as he laid it out there to start this show off, he did not even have the mental side of it, of fighting himself through that injury, because he's constantly thinking about what he can't do anymore versus what he can do as the Embiid, thinking the game, as a high IQ player that he is, thinking the game instead of instinctually doing the things that he has done to become this great player that we know him to be, even still to this day. So that's the reason why I say I believe that it's time for them to just wrap it up for the year and go ahead, sit him down, and see where they can go from here. Because as you saw, being benched in the fourth quarter, that's not how you want to go out. They could have been in this game, but they just paraded to the paint tonight because while we said, all right, he'll be an efficient scorer on the other end, get some good looks, dish the ball, get some rebounds, maybe 8 a game, no longer 10 to 12, but get about 6 to 8, some real good rebounds there, kick ahead, let them get out and play solid defense as this wasn't a stretch big lineup from Sharp or Claxton. No. They're playing in close. This is not Kristaps Porzingis or even Luke Cornett for that matter. And what they had in the game overall, points in the paint, it was 60 to 50. But in the first quarter,
what a great point.
26 to 10. And then you go to the second quarter, 8 to 8. But that didn't even matter. That didn't even matter.
What a great point.
So that's my rationale as to why I think they should do it. You guys know, you've been following me from the radio to here. I am a big Joel Embiid fan. That's not Joel Embiid. That is not Joel Embiid.
It's a great point. And to add on to it, the other night when Boston is playing 5 out, that's a tough team to guard. Porzingis has always given him a little bit of trouble with him being able to space the floor, especially now that he plays on a Boston team that has 4 other options that can dribble, pass, shoot, all of that stuff. Tonight is the game where he, in the past, has not had to even go 50% because he can just stand around the rim and he can wait for drivers to get funneled into him. He's not worried about anything Nic Claxton is doing. And you laid it out. He gave up 1 million points in the paint. It was really rough. I mean, 40 points in the first quarter, Devon. 40 and
26 of those 40 in the paint.
Yeah,
26.
Embiid, Maxey, and that's weren't even a team that was making threes. Like, this is really dire stuff. I think you and I are not going to give the old fire and brimstone routine tonight, but it's really bad, really embarrassing, terrible stuff. You mentioned too he is a very smart player and has been throughout his career. He needs to be a certain percent higher than he is right now to use that. Yeah, sure.
Think the game.
If he's not 100%, he can think the game and still be effective at 70% of what he was. He's not even close to that right now. So he has no options. So here is a question I have for you.
Sure.
Because I think this gives them a decent out. Is this the last game that we see from him this year? Do they shut him down?
If I'm them, yes. But I can absolutely see him and them agreeing that he plays against Chicago on Monday to give it a go again. But if they see them get started the way that they did tonight, where they're playing from behind once again, they were down by 17 points. 11 in the first, 17 in the second half, they were down. And I think they trailed by 17 after 2 going into halftime. If they get in that situation once again, they play New York on Tuesday. That's going to be totally different it's going to be the same, but it's a better team. It's going to be a better team. So they may not have a chance to claw their way back into it and win the game.
I just keep coming back to, though, man, it's like, yeah, I understand he might not want to go out that way, but he's been given ample opportunity to turn this thing around and fix it. And just watching him tonight, yeah, okay, the team looks completely lackluster. Feels like this team has quit on this coach overall. But him specifically, we can talk about his effort because I think that's, there are times when it frankly was not good enough. Frankly, long stretches of the game where it was not good enough. But right. I just do not see a guy who is healthy enough to affect the game in a positive manner. So I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if this was the last game of his season. I just watching him. I mean, man, did you see what he had wrapped around his foot?
Rich, I said that to you. I said that to you on Thursday. The foot thing, and then that was for the knee, but the foot thing. After he tried to block whoever it was, I don't even know who it was at the end of the quarter where he tried to block the shot, and he went out of bounds and fell to the floor. Now, he smartly fell. He fell to the floor because he didn't want to put pressure on the knee. So was it the ankle that he twisted there on that play that he had to have that whatever contraption that KJ had wrapped around his ankle? I don't know, but yeah, man, I mean, you can't win basketball games if he is going to have to continuously go to the bench and put this one on the knee, this one on the ankle, and you're working with one leg, man.
Yeah,
one leg.
They got to shut him down. I mean, and I think, there have been times this year where I've said, it doesn't look great, but maybe it's something that, he'll be able to build himself back up. And that's kind of the way Daryl Morey said. Like Daryl Morey has said that this thing will improve over time. He will get strength in his knee. That's what 10 doctors have told him,
when that
or whatever
is going to come from.
Huh?
10 months off.
Yeah, I can't watch it anymore, man. It was really, really rough tonight. That is a team that, as recently as 13 months ago, he would have scored 40 points in 2.5 quarters.
Lunch.
And the game would have been over, and he wouldn't have even been going that hard.
He would have eaten
and it was
lunch.
It was the exact thing. So this is really rough. Bree, can we show the final play? Also, too, Sixers make a big comeback, and they actually have the game tied. They actually took a 3-point lead on a deep Tyrese Maxey 3. The game is tied at the end. It looks like we are going to the dreaded Saturday night overtime, which
baby.
Nobody wants. But, and thank you, Bree.
I had to yell to Bree, we're going to overtime.
We have the last play here. And as you can see, Gershon Yabusele doesn't get a great body. Let's run that one more time, Bree. First off, I don't completely understand what Kelly Oubre, look, he plays hard. I don't understand why he's giving like a wide open lane. Looks like he gets hit in the face there. And then you have Claxton.
And that was Wofford, right? He gave that lane up to Wofford. Now Wofford had it going on. He can go left or he can go right, but he doesn't have speed. Yeah. That's just more of the methodical way of how he does it. I'm playing me. I'm not an NBA, but I'm playing him straight up. I'm not angling him either way. I'm just playing him straight up.
Me too. And then as you saw at the end, everybody, thank you, Bree. You see that Yabusele has to block out Nic Claxton. Yabusele, who I've loved watching for most of this year, is a terrible defensive rebounder, especially when he plays the 5.
Yeah.
Doesn't get a body, just like whiffs on him. Claxton also goes around Paul George, who I think a lot of people were.
And he does that,
frustrated.
Claxton. He's that, he can maneuver his way around because of his athleticism and all that stuff. But you're right. He got by 2 guys to get that offensive putback. And
that was your ball game. Sixers lose, a nice comeback at the end, but something I don't think, even if they won this game, we would have given Yabu his kudos. We would have given Quentin Grimes, especially, his kudos. Maxey for running through the tape at the end of the game. But it wouldn't have been something we were crazy about, because if you actually were a serious basketball team and a team that wanted to win this game, that first quarter never happens. That first half, it just doesn't happen. Like, that team has like negative ball handlers, man. As you said before the game, D'Angelo Russell's not playing. They're playing Killian Hayes in the starting lineup. I didn't even know he was on the team. They signed him to a 10-day a couple days ago.
Thursday.
Yeah. And they have like negative 1 ball handlers. And, they're just getting into the paint time and again. Keon Johnson, Trendon Watford, Martin. It's just everybody just getting into the paint.
And they did cough the ball up 16 times.
Yeah.
You got 19 points, which you probably should have more, but you got 19 points off their 16 turnovers. Rich, you got to win that game.
They got it. And I mean, some of those turnovers were at the end when Yabu was playing the 5 and Grimes was
up in there
pressuring.
jerseys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And they were starting to get some plays. So it was tough. But I think the big takeaway tonight is that this is a different level of bad for Joel Embiid. It's extremely concerning for the long run, and we'll have conversations about where that fits in with the rest of the roster, what they do in the offseason, all of those things. But I'm with you, man. Like, I think you just need to shut him down now. Like, that was so unbelievably bad. And it was tough to watch. And I feel bad for him, because it's clearly a guy whose body is betraying him and he has no idea what to do with it. But
he's trying, but it's just not good.
It's just not good enough.
It's not good enough right now. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back and we'll talk about
the other stuff
with the game of how they got themselves into the position that they were in, the Furies comeback, how good Quentin Grimes, Yabusele were in that fourth quarter to help claw their way back into this one. Sixers fall, though, their 7th consecutive loss, tying in season-long streak that they had earlier in the year. 7 in a row for the Sixers, 105-103. This is the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. And I got to tell you, look, it's late night. You are all into the game. You're like, oh, let me go get something to eat. Let me go fix myself some food. No, this game is getting a little close. I can't miss anything. Well, you know what? You probably could have gotten it done with the quick work from our good friends at HelloFresh. And HelloFresh, it's been fantastic. Trying to figure out late night the dinner and how you want to get it done and what you want to do to get that dinner done and what do you have a taste for? Well, HelloFresh is easy to find time to eat well with 50 wholesome, hassle-free meals to choose from each week delivered right to your door. We were fortunate enough to get some of those 50 different wholesome, hassle-free meals delivered to our doors. And I got to tell you, with the late nights that Bree, Rich, and I, and Derek and Kyle have so often, when I get home, you know what? I want to eat healthy and I'm hungry. I want to eat some food. And I do so with HelloFresh, the quick work that is ready-made meals to go from the fridge to your fork in just 3 minutes, folks. It's the same high-quality ingredients and restaurant-worthy flavor you expect from HelloFresh, just with none of that work that you have to deal with there at the restaurant. HelloFresh 15-minute meals are done in just 3 simple steps so you can eat better this year without all the hassle, save valuable time with fewer trips to the grocery store. Thanks to HelloFresh Market that they deliver right to the door. There's over 100 add-on items you can add to your weekly box, like quick breakfasts, packable snacks, beverages, and more. They save you time, quick recipes, they have you covered. Get up to 10 free meals, not 100, 10 free meals and free high protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/Eagles, since, they were in the run there. 10 FM again. So 1 item per box with active subscription, free meals applied at discount on the first box, new subscribers only, various by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/Eagles. 10 FM, America's #1 meal kit is HelloFresh.
Devon, now let's talk about our friends and our presenting sponsor, Bet365. And you can use code PHLY365 at sign up. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Devon, Bet365, they have 90 million users worldwide, live streams for 780,000 events each year, and early payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across not 10, not 20, 78 sports. 78. And also, as I mentioned, they have the early payout offer. And for basketball, and this is NBA and college basketball, you are a winner if your team goes up by 20 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. You can download the app and use PHLY365 when you sign up. And now, Devon, there is breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Again, you got to sign up and use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $100 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, players, props, futures, and more. And you must be 21 and over and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And Devon, let's talk about it. It is whatever the moment is. It is never ordinary at Bet365.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Rich Hoffman, I'm Devon Givens. Bree with us. Good to be with you here on this Saturday night. According to Kyle Neubeck of PHLY Sixers, Joel Embiid declined to speak to reporters after the game. Nick Nurse on the podium as I look at Derek's video, Derek Bodner at Derek Bodner NBA on Twitter. When asked about Joel Embiid, his quote is this: "He's given us what he can. He's not himself. We all know that. He's not certainly the guy that we're used to seeing play at a super high level, but I commend him for giving us what he can," end quote. So do I. But guess what?
Yeah.
You're not helping them win. So if it's not helping you pick up the W's and get back into this race, whatever the race that they keep telling us that they're trying to get back into, what's the point? There's no point. There's none. None.
Agreed. Bree, do you have my 3 observations? I think we should get to these. We already talked about number 1 ad nauseum, and that is that is the worst I've ever seen him look. And I don't say that with any glee or anything like that. Like, it's a bummer, but it is facts. I've never seen him get benched in a game, and deservedly so. 40 first quarter points for Brooklyn, man. That was some of the worst overall effort I've ever seen.
Terrible.
Really pathetic. It really, like, watching that, I was like, man, somebody's going to have to get fired this year.
And we,
or traded.
I was thinking the same. I know we didn't say it a lot out loud tonight, but while we were watching it, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, damn, if they get blown out here, this might be a Nick Nurse is done for the year kind of thing, because it wasn't going to be anybody else that got fired. It was going to be the coach, and hey, you got a day off on Sunday, and a game on Monday. Is he going to take the fall? Now, they fought themselves back into it, but I thought the same thing. This is not the first time, though, we've seen big quarters from Sixers opponents, man. This is not like Eagles, where they come back after the tough first quarters during the season. Also, a note that was kind of forgotten all year after they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's
right?
true.
Yeah, but
it was looking bleak in October at the beginning of the
games. And then
games.
they fixed that. No worries in the second half. But to the point of giving up all the points that they give up in the first quarter, they're not the Eagles. They weren't good enough to come back and find their way back into it in the second, third, and fourth quarters. They just lose these.
Yeah, it's bad. And the number, before we get back to that, number 3, nice game for Cooper Flagg tonight. We had it on the other TV.
We did have him on television.
Yeah, Duke played pretty well. He seems like a pretty darn good player.
Yeah. They were playing against Kaz in Illinois.
They were. And look, some people were probably rooting for the other outcome, but this outcome gets the Sixers a couple percentage points closer to Cooper. A couple.
Go ahead and check your
every percentage matters.
You take a thon.
Yeah, go take a spin.
See what it looks like, because
go take a spin.
Because Brooklyn did win, and they're fighting with Brooklyn. Chicago lost, but Brooklyn won, and Sixers lost. So
I'm gonna take one spin.
One spin.
Up number 8. They lost the pick.
Good luck, OKC.
Hey, look, it's like a 55% chance.
Hey man, but if you can get Joel Embiid back at some form of health after sitting out a few months, that player Joel might be better than that number 5 overall pick that you just missed out on. So
second spin, they were number 3.
There you go.
There you go.
Who are you taking?
Who am I taking?
At 3.
Who's off the board?
Flagg is off the board. Harper's off the board.
I guess we'll have the Bailey convo.
We're gonna have the convo. Who are you taking?
That might be it.
You might go Edgecombe.
Yeah, Edgecombe. I haven't watched enough of these.
Guys.
You know,
you should be in a position where, again, you're still a playoff team technically, where you can take a swing on a guy like Edgecombe and just hope that you don't miss.
Yeah,
you know, or Cass.
Yeah, but look, man, that effort in the first quarter. Again, a lot of it is Embiid, right? The fact that he's not protecting the rim, he's not getting back on defense, all those things. It's a lot of it. The perimeter defense is so bad.
So bad.
It's like Trendon Watford he's getting into the paint whenever. Man, I like Oubre, but he couldn't stay in front of him to save his life tonight. And, Quentin Grimes. So the one positive thing, the one guy who is still playing for something, and that is a contract.
Mm-hmm.
I thought his perimeter defense, particularly later in the game, he had like 3 or 4 wow possessions where he's what it kind of reminded me of? Avery Bradley in his prime, where he's just moving side to side, right?
He stood up Cam Johnson on that one play at the top of the key, fought around the screens, forced a pass where they had to rush the 3-pointer. But you're right, he was Avery Bradley dog-like.
Yeah, moving side to side. Another guy, Drew Holiday, right? Drew Holiday, especially when he was younger. There was a play, and I think it was in Drew's second or third year, where I remember Kyrie Irving, I think, was a rookie, and he had a good rookie year. And Drew Holiday shuffled his feet with him like 6 times in a row. Some of the best individual perimeter defense I've ever seen. Now, it was in a meaningless game. I think Drew has played in kind of higher leverage games since then.
Like doing that very thing that you talk about against Devin Booker in Game 5.
Exactly. In that Game 5 in Phoenix.
Yeah.
To win.
I was sitting there watching that.
To win the NBA Finals. Anyway, some really good defense from him. As you mentioned, has a very quick trigger from beyond the arc as well.
I don't even look. He missed some really good looks.
Yeah.
It happens.
They're shooting it really poorly.
But the one thing that he does, man, he was 3 for 6, though. We talked about, you just pointed out, he made some big shots down the stretch there, and he has a really quick trigger, man. He gets that shot off really fast, and that is good with the passes that he does receive from the other 3, including Joel Embiid being out there for this time. He looked good. He looked good tonight.
Well, and it goes back to, I think for a lot of this season, we're like, man, the supporting cast is not very good, right? They're trying to piece it together with super young guys, super old guys. Quinn Grimes is good enough. Like you can win with him if the star players are performing at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy I would like to bring back, but I thought his defense in the second half was really good.
I agree. So let me ask you this though. That 40 points, it was ridiculous. Giving up that much. They shot 75% at one point in this game. That was after the first quarter. They were 15 for 20 and 2 for 3 from beyond. Coughed the ball up 2 times. Made 2 of their 3 threes in that first quarter. 40 points, 75% from the floor. And the Sixers shot 43%. But when you shoot 75%, you're going to lead by 10 after 1, and that's how bad it was. Their defense was terrible. Remember, we pointed out 26 points in the paint for the Brooklyn Nets given up in that first quarter by the Sixers in their terrible defense. So they cannot continue to put themselves in these types of deficits in the first quarter and trying to dig themselves out of them because, quite frankly, right now, currently, they're not good enough to fight back and win the amount of games that they're going to need. So they have to stop that. I do have another question, though, on the Embiid front. Without knowing what happens, rehab without surgery, rehab with surgery, whatever it is, he comes back, though. I think it is, but I want to ask you and all of everybody out there, is his game translatable? Does it age well? Should his game age well if he allows it to? If he accepts that he has to be something a little bit different but still be effective and impactful, should it age well?
Well, he needs a certain degree of explosion back. I mean, I thought for a long time it would age well. And that the main reason is he's not getting any smaller and he's not getting any worse as a jump shooter, right? Like he'll be able to still shoot over people at the free throw line from the low post, even take some threes as he gets a little bit older as a secondary player. I'm pretty worried though if this knee never gets better, if it never gets back to even in between where it is now and where it was last year, I am worried, and particularly on the defensive end, right? That is where I don't think it's going to age well because if he's moving not at the level that we've seen from him throughout his career, like he's going to be a liability on that end. He's not. He always has never struck me as a great rebounder. I know his numbers have been good, but fundamentally, he's not like a great box out guy. And he's smart. Like he's smart. He knows when to contest, when not to contest, and those things. But if he doesn't have a degree of mobility, then I don't think it's going to age that well. Offensively, it should. But again, it just boils back to whatever athleticism percentage he's at now. Right. 20, 15, whatever it is, it's low. It's really low.
It should only go up.
It's got to get up to above 50%. I'm making up percentages right now. I'm Bill Simmons, 70%, 75%. And then it might be able to age well because his skill level is super high.
Offensively, it should be.
But watching him now,
no problem.
Watching him now, I'm very concerned.
Yeah,
about how it's going.
Because when we brought up the Tim Duncan example a little bit earlier today in the pregame, Tim Duncan was always slight, right? He was always slight. He just got older and his knees gave out on him. But he was always a thinker of the game. He was always willing to be that person that was okay with sacrificing some stuff within the flow of the offense. And Joel Embiid, it's not just that. To your point, it's what we also talked about in the pregame. It's this, the mind. He has to accept and understand that he is going to have to adjust some things because, as he says, I am not myself. I can't do certain things. Some of that is just going to be gone. He has to accept and get it through that he has to now change how he does it on that end. That's where Drew Hanlon comes in, and he has to believe the people that he trusts. If it's Drew Hanlon, if it's the coaching staff, someone like Tyrese Maxey telling them the truth and saying, hey, big fella, this is what we got to do going forward. And they do it, and he accepts it. You could still be, Rich, he was averaging in 33 last couple of years. We wanted him to get down to about 27. With his offensive output, back to the basket, that type of stuff, and his hang dribble at the free throw line, jab steps, all that to get these guys to back off.
Man, I miss that so much.
You can still jab step without the explosion to get into the rim just because of how well he shoots that mid-range jump shot and still average 22 points a game in today's NBA. That's, for him, that jump shot, like you said, that's going nowhere. That's going nowhere. So I just wanted to ask you that question, ask everybody here in the chat that question. We got a lot of answers. We got some super chats. I saw Vinny say, no, it's not going to age well. Our buddy Vince Pellegrini saying it's not
a surprise
going to
that
age
Vince
well.
is saying it's not going to age well.
He also said he was never a winner. No, he hasn't been a winner. He has not. Duncan was a winner. He hasn't been a winner.
I mean, compared to Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally different. But
I mean, he's like drag the franchise to respectability.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. So
you
look,
want to say he's not an NBA Finals winner, that's fine. He's not a champion, whatever, but I don't know. They've done a lot of winning, which is why like this is driving me crazy because it's so weird to watch like, oh wow, like he's a net negative. He's like a drag on the team right now. Oh boy, they might be cooked right now.
So Yams, you say stop, he's done. Do you mean this season or he's done being an all-star level player?
Well, judging by Yams, I love you.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I think Yams is saying he's just done playing basketball.
Well, see, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I mean, none of us know. You don't know. I don't know. None of us know. But I would think that type of game is translatable to aging well, going on for what the skill set that he has. That's my opinion. You can say, Devon, stop. I can say, Yams, you stop. And we can go back and forth. The only way we're going to find out is seeing him play at whatever level of play it is after this season, whatever happens in the offseason, and they lace him back up next year, and then we'll find out. So I don't think either one of us has the answer. I would at least today bet on that the skill set can still be very, very effective in an NBA offense. My opinion. Take a quick break, come back, get to the super chats. Player of the game, Colin Derrick from the arena. Sixers fall, lose their 7 straight, 105-103. This is the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365.
And Devon, I am here to tell everyone about our friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Did all of that holiday shopping leave you with a credit card balance that is weighing you down? Well, if so, think about this. What if you could pay it off faster and with zero interest until 2026? It's true. Because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months, so all your payments can go toward reducing your balance and not just covering the interest. Here's the play. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. But Devon, we've been talking about this for about a month now. You have to hurry up because the deadline is February 28th. It's the 22nd right now, just for a few more hours too. So what you need to do is visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by NCUA, an equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval, and a 3% balance transfer fee applies.
And as we're talking with Yams and everybody about Joel's knee issues and all, of course I'm joking, but you know I'm not joking because I had to have some knee work done myself with my ACL. Not just the ACL part, but I did have some meniscus issues in there. Not as much as him, and I'm not 7'2" and 280 pounds. I'm a little bit lighter, just a little bit. just a little bit. But if your joints are aching, your hands are cramping, back out of whack, some knee issues that are preventing you from being the basketball player that you want to be, or just simply getting through everyday life, Rothman Orthopedics is a place for you to go. Their mission, high quality, compassionate, and affordable care rooted in research that leads to new treatments and better outcomes. So as we discuss some new treatments, how do you fix the issues that Yams are talking about in Embiid's knee? Rothman Orthopedics might have some more innovative new treatments there to get this right. And each Rothman doc is laser focused on their specialty: hip, knee, spine, shoulder, you name it. They have a team doctor for that specific body part right there in your backyard, here in this area, so you can cross over the defense, drain those jump shots, and root for your teams like no other fans in the country. We've also talked about, hey, maybe you want to go for a bike ride or something like that, but that's stopping you. Rothman Orthopedics is the place for you. They specialize in you, and Rothman proudly serves dozens of communities across Pennsylvania and New Jersey with 30-plus convenient offices, urgent cares, walk-in centers as well. Patients will find the full spectrum of orthopedic care at Rothman Orthopedics. Year over year, Rothman consistently performs among the highest volume of hip, knee, shoulder, and ankle replacements in the country at over 60,000. So Rothman Orthopedics, they specialize in orthopedics, and you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. What'd you have?
What were those rotations in the first half?
We saw David Roddy early before Gershon Yabusele. We saw Lonnie Walker pretty early. We expected that just to see provide some energy and see how it went. But there were some odd lineups, man. And the one in the first coming out, what was it? When Lonnie Walker got in there, it was Maxey, Grimes, Walker, George, and Embiid. That's okay. That's fine. You want to see what Lonnie Walker has. But then you had the Roddy factor with Embiid on the floor. I didn't understand that. Maybe because of the shooting aspect, and he's a big dude that can kind of box out and help out Joel Embiid with creating some space there to collect those team rebounds. But you're right, man. It was a little puzzling.
I do wonder, because Daryl Morey made it very clear at that crazy press conference he gave, which is just it just looks worse and worse every 48 hours when his team plays another game, about, if you squint and if you can see, the championship potential from the team. He made it very clear that he thought Tyrese Maxey and Nick Nurse were a big reason at that point that the team had not completely fallen apart. And I thought that was strategic. I thought that was to signal to people that we are sticking around with Nick Nurse. I do wonder if this continues to get this bad, and if they continue to trot out their star level players, I feel like somebody's gonna have to go at some point. I feel like that's just the way this works. That's just the way professional sports work. And considering that you're able to swap the coach in very easily, it's the easy thing to do. I'm not saying it's the cure all, because it's not. I do wonder if he could be the fall guy here. It's looking closer to me, I would say.
Which one? Who would?
Nick Nurse.
Nick Nurse. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to our guy in the arena, man in the arena, checking in live from the arena. Kyle Neubeck joining us here. Make sure you go to allphly.com to read Kyle's post-game recap, the good, the bad, the ugly from this one. A lot of bad, a lot of ugly, good in the fourth quarter as they try to make that comeback, Kyle. But the thing that we started off with, of course, was the fourth quarter sit down for Joel Embiid and what that looked like. We read your tweet stating that Joel Embiid did not speak to the media, but we also saw some interesting quotes from Nick Nurse in the post-game press conference. So what can you share with us, since we weren't able to catch up with everything from Nurse speaking about Embiid, why the decision was made, and what Nurse had to say?
Yeah, I mean, he kept it pretty simple, Devon. He said the group that was out there had good rhythm, liked how they were playing, and so he decided he was going to let them play it out and see what happened. And based on what we had seen up to that point in the game, I think it's kind of hard to argue against that, unless you're saying that Joel should be in there because of, what he's contributed in the past or his status in the organization. Like, on balance, he was not one of their 5 best players tonight. And I think that in itself is the story of the game. It's been the story of the last few weeks that this guy just does not look anywhere close to himself. I said in the recap tonight, he is as close as I've seen covering this team, as close to somebody looking like they got zapped by the Monstars in Space Jam as any player in the league, right? Like, I just think physically he's not there. And I think more concerning for me is the mental side of it is not there, where I see openings that he would have attacked in the past, like opportunities to drive, opportunities to frankly just play one-on-one basketball against like Nic Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe, who are guys that he would have put through the stanchion in years past. Like, there's no urgency to do so. Maybe there's no ability to do so. I don't really know, but just did not seem to have any confidence in himself going to the rim. And then to compound that, physically, he's just slower, right? So like when he needs to cut down an angle on defense, he can't get there as quickly. And so his positioning becomes more important. His effort and his commitment becomes super important. And like, I don't think he's providing good, at least tonight, he provided a good nothing. It was bad on just about every front. So like, the real question is, how does he react to this, right? Because from what we could see, and I don't know how much they showed you guys on the broadcast, he was, played the part of good teammate on the sideline, like high-fiving guys and whatever. But I think it's a big enough statement for him to be like, yeah, I'm just not talking to anybody after the game, and I'm just going home. So we'll have to see how that develops. But as far as Nick Nurse's end of it, it was pretty cut and dry. I like that group better, and that's who I finished with.
And that part was understandable, Kyle. But what about the Daryl Morey part of this? Like, you laid it out. This is the worst I've ever seen him look. Like, that was a disaster how bad he was tonight. Are we getting close to the point where it's like, hey man, like, I think you need to shut it down for the rest of the season?
I mean, look, if he's coming out here and saying game after game, it's been at least 2 or 3 times recently where he's been, yeah, I need it. If he doesn't use the word surgery, it's like it needs to get fixed. It needs to be that. And like, even if there is no surgery, even if there is no procedure that we can point to, and as far as I know, other than some experimental stuff, there's nothing really there. But if this guy keeps coming to you and saying like, I'm not right, and then you see that product on the floor, I don't know how it actually helps to put him out there. And I've said to you guys on the show many times over, right, that I think the medical belief is that getting more reps, getting more PT, all this stuff is going to help him, right? That the knee will acclimate to its new reality, that it's going to help him over the long term to just get these. But when the reps are so bad, when he looks this out of sorts, I think it just drains his confidence. And like, if he doesn't play with confidence, if he doesn't walk into an arena against the Brooklyn Nets and look at himself and say, I'm just going to destroy these guys by showing up, like, then I disagree with the thesis that playing him right now is helping. So that's, I mean, set aside whether there's a procedure or anything that can be done to help him, you have to start taking into consideration stuff like that, because that guy that was out there tonight, that is not the player that we've seen. Like, even a Joel Embiid critic, a longtime critic, would look at that and say he is not close on any front to where he's been in the past.
So Kyle, one of the things that we did talk about, and I mentioned to Rich, was that number one, we've all been around him. Rich has been around, you know him well also, and having the conversations that you do. The one that I brought up was, okay, walking into the arena, as you just put it, and hanging 25 at least on this team, because we know he's done the Claxton and Sharpe in the past. But there's also that mental hurdle that he's going to have to accept, that since he says this stuff about something needs to be fixed or whatever it is, he then has to accept that he's going to be a little bit different and has to approach the game differently in these next 26 whatever games he's going to play. And to your point of him not speaking to you guys after the game, this is part of it, where he can't even bring himself to sit there and speak to you guys, where he's fighting himself now as to what he can no longer do out there on the floor, at least for this 24-25 campaign.
And Devon, I'll use that to say the one thing that I really was if I was on the Sixers that I would have been upset about tonight. There was a sequence in the first half where he tried to reestablish himself in the post. Maxey had the ball, and he got pissed that Maxey didn't get him the ball back and reacted really poorly, like shoulders slumped, kind of like threw his hand like this in Maxey's direction, and then just trotted very slowly to the corner. And like, look, you really should never show your teammates up like that. That's not a thing that you should do as a leader of the team. But if you're going to be doing stuff like that, you need to be, as I've said before, like an ass kicker, right? You have to be the version of Joel Embiid that's been there in the past, where the next time you get the ball, you're dunking somebody through the basket, or you're scoring 8 straight points on the next 4 possessions or whatever. And instead, you're getting like 0 for 6 from 3, really passive, is not able to beat one-on-one coverage, was not particularly good out of doubles. And then you're also adding that stuff where, like, you watch how those guys play in the fourth quarter, where Yabu's at the 5 and they're running, they're trapping, they're doing all these things. And like, they're playing animated, emotional, in a good way, emotional basketball, right? Yabu beckoning to the crowd, Kelly Oubre getting fired up, Maxey hitting threes. Like, those guys were having fun. They're excited. And most importantly, they're playing together. And so, look, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, he's soft, or like criticize him for his body failing him, right? Like, it's a really unfortunate thing that's happened. What you cannot do as a teammate is take that and direct that at other people, right? You have to find a way to be a positive force for change within a game and a positive force for the team overall. So that was something that jumped out at me when it happened. And Devon, we've talked about this quite a bit recently about, when he charges at Kelly Oubre on the sideline when he's in the middle of a game where he was dogging it on defense. Like, he's got to lead in whatever way he's capable of doing. That doesn't mean scoring 30 points. It means showing up in any way that you are capable of.
Kyle, I don't really have anything else. I guess, what was it like in the arena to watch that 40-point Nets first quarter with like 28 points in the paint?
Derek and I said many things during that stretch that cannot be repeated on this show for the sake of our wonderful partners and fast channels and whatever else. But that was, they had like half a guy who could dribble, and they dropped 40 points. And the worst part was they shot like crap from 3. We saw Cam Johnson was in the tunnel talking to people after the game. He's like, man, I couldn't hit anything and we still won. It's like, what is happening here? So, it was at least a little bit encouraging to see the second half snap back and have those guys show some sort of fight. I would imagine Nick Nurse probably feels good about that, because boy, after that first half, you had to be like, this team looks like they're laying down and just quitting on this guy. And Rich, I heard what you were saying prior to me coming on. I'm with, like, there's going to be some consequence of this season, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised if they just say the coach is the easiest thing to change, and that's what you do. But
you missed it earlier when we were talking about if the trend continued from the first quarter of the 40 to a 30 and another 40. It's like, oh, he might get let go tonight, that kind of thing, because that was really bad.
It felt like the type of game that gets a coach fired, for sure.
Yeah, and I said to Derek during the game, if you're actually of the belief that they claim they are, that, oh, we just got to get into the tournament and we can do something, you can't let the coach continue after that game, after losing that one, right? But, they did play a little bit better, and so much of it circles back to Joel. Did you guys happen to catch the Paul George quote that I shared after the game, by the way? Because now I'm really excited to break this to you. So after the game, Paul was pretty quick. We get a scrum around him, ask him a few questions. And I asked Paul, because you guys know he had the one devastating leg injury, and then multiple shoulder problems, whatever. I said, you see Joel going through this. You've been through the process of recovery from these types of issues. What kind of words of encouragement or words of wisdom would you give him to help him pull out of this? And I hand on the Bible. He just looks me dead in the eye and he goes, drugs help. And we all laugh, right? We start laughing. And he then follows it up with like, no, I'm serious. Like, they do help. And then he goes into, I'm going to have to transcribe the whole thing and like give a real answer. But it was like, Paul Hudrick, colleague of ours, said tonight, he's like, that's the title of the video yearbook right there. The 2024-25 Sixers. Drugs help. Just unbelievable stuff. So I guess I'll leave on a high note on that.
Yeah, leave on a high note.
That's a good one to end on, man.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, we appreciate it. Enjoy your Sunday. We got Chicago Bulls on Monday. The question is, will Joel Embiid be in uniform and in the lineup on Monday? We'll find out then.
Listen, I know Rich follows EPL. They have 6-pointers in English Premier League. This is a 6-pointer just in the opposite way, right? It's one of those types of games.
One of those high leverage games, except for ping pong balls instead of actual playoff positioning.
Oh, man. Thanks, man. We'll check in with you on Monday. Enjoy your Sunday off. We'll talk to you then. Kyle Neubeck joined us from the arena. Again, go read his recap. allphly.com to check out Kyle's work there. Sign up to become a diehard member. Right now, we do have a special going on. Again, all PHLY, all cities, just being generous because the Birds won a Super Bowl.
Sure.
Having a little pity on us too, right? Just because of that and having a deal. But no, go sign up. $48 for you to go sign up to become a diehard member. You get the great written content from Kyle and Derek for their work on the Sixers. Rich's daily newsletter, the best in the city. And then, yes, the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yes, they did.
But you got free agency. Fran has the best draft coverage in the city. Might even argue in the country.
Oh, yeah. He's getting there.
Yeah. And that's how good the Eagles coverage is. You got the Phillies spring training game tomorrow there. Get nationally it's televised too, so we can watch it. Yeah, we can watch it. So Phillies in spring training, they got their games going on, and the Flyers are back in action as well. So Mishkov scored.
They won.
Yeah.
They actually win games.
They actually win games. That's why we got a 7:30 game too, because they had to skate in the building. Yeah, so there's that.
The worst.
allphly.com to go sign up. Get yourself a membership, get a free t-shirt as well. You want to go to the store, get some things from the Gold Standard collection. You can get a hat or hats that Rich and I both have on right now. All available at the store.allcitynetwork.com. All right, Super Chats, a ton of them. Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats. Is it me or did our three-point shooting leave with Edwards?
It's been pretty rough the past few. I think it was pretty rough the few games before the break, but yeah, no, I miss Justin Edwards. That quick trigger three. Yeah, Davon, the
Quinn
shooting,
Grimes, 3 for 6.
The shooting the last few nights has been no bueno.
What did Maxey shoot?
Yeah.
I want to see what he shot from 3. Maxey shot tonight 5 for 11. Grimes 3 for 6. They were the only two, really. Between the two of
Embiid,
them.
0 for 6. PG, 1 for 6. Oubre, 0 for 3. Lonnie, 0 for 3. Lonnie got up 3 in 10 minutes in his first half.
I'm not mad at you, Lonnie. He said, I saw this team in the first quarter. I'm firing them up too. Davon, the three-point shooting has been pretty bad.
Not good.
Not good. They did make 10 tonight, but they still lost. All right, let's go to Marcus Blackstock. How many times does this have to be a discussion? It's clear. They need to shut Joel down, use basic fundamentals, thinking, and logic. We all love him, but it's time to get the surgery. So I included both of the Super Chats because he was just basically going forward. Thank you. $10 tonight. Marcus, we always love that. Thank you so much.
Marcus, we love you, but I got to say, the surgery, there might not be a surgery that is available for him.
It's more about if there's no surgery, Marcus, that's going to fix this, it's just shutting it down and whatever rehab rest that needs to happen to get him to a comfortable spot.
So I agree with your first point, but I'm not sure there's really a surgery that is going to fix this. So maybe there's like a very minor procedure that'll help. But look, man, he has had a lot of damage to that left knee. I've heard the term bone on bone. I saw that in the chat tonight. I don't have Joel's MRI, so I don't know if that's exactly what's going on. Anyway, that left knee is really jacked up. There might not be a surgery is all I'm saying.
All right.
But I do agree with you. I think it is time to shut him down.
So, yeah, even if you said no surgery, but whatever, it's just shutting him down to correct whatever problem that he said needs to be fixed. We agree with you there, Marcus. and we appreciate it. Make sure, again, you sign up to become a diehard member. Go to the Gold Standard. Check out the store.allcitynetwork.com. I'm waiting for my stuff to come in the mail, man. It's the new stuff that, you gotta wait a little bit on because they're just pushing all that stuff out all over the country, all Birds fans, even out of the country, wanting the stuff from our Gold Standard collection. Bernard McCoy talking about Embiid as well. Embiid saying he needs surgery is just him saying,
oh, it was Bernard who said bone on bone. Okay.
Okay. It's bone on bone.
I knew I saw
There's no
that
surgery
somewhere.
for that. Where do we go from here? We have to find out and wait. I don't have that answer.
We got a lot of podcasts, rest of the season, the rest of the summer, Bernard.
We don't have that
We don't
answer.
have that answer right now.
No, that's a tough one. So yes, they do pay us to be here. We just don't want to speculate on an answer that we don't have on that one, Bernard. Sorry. Just shut him down. Shut him down. And they said that the other specialist said he was good to go. But if there's no surgery, then you need to rest. You need to rest. He didn't rest because he played in the summer, in the Olympics. That went through August, came back in October. Some time off. How much time is that from now to, let's say,
Training camp?
Training camp. And he'll probably do stuff somewhere around August with Drew Hamlin so it's about 8 months? 7?
Yeah, like 7. I'll take the next one from Philly J to the guy in the gray hoodie. That's me. If you think losing in the second round every year is winning, congratulations. A winner is the Eagles. Well, Jay, I got to say, the Eagles are champions and they should be put on a different sort of pedestal than Joel Embiid. I got to say, this binary winner-loser stuff, like, come on, man. Like, I don't like talking about sports like that. Joel Embiid has had a very disappointing playoff career. I think that is very clear. I think there's been other crazy stuff that's happened around him, but he is responsible for a lot of it. But for a guy who has dragged this team to relevance and has put together some unbelievable seasons, and that's been one of the things that's bothered me a little bit about the chat tonight. Not everybody, but people saying that he's been just a loser, the binary winner-loser his whole career. I'm not buying that. I've really enjoyed watching that guy play basketball for a lot of his career. If you want to point out that his playoffs have been disappointing, absolutely. Has he been a confounding player at times? 100%. 100%. Are there things he should have been able to do to get over that hump? Like, clearly. But he's done some awesome stuff. He's put together some great performances. Even last year, he was hurt and he was dragging his leg up and down the court when he was playing at like 40%. I don't know. I'm not in sports. I know a lot of people would be excited if I called him a loser, and I'd get applause for that because, it's the whole fire and brimstone routine, and everybody is very frustrated about where he's at right now. But I don't view sports that way. And, if you want to criticize him a little bit for some of the things he's done in his career, 100%. Call him disappointing in the playoffs. The difference between the regular season and the playoffs has been a real thing, but I don't know. If you don't want to call him a winner, fine, but I'm not calling him a loser. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
I said it earlier. I'm a fan, and that's why it's disappointing to see him play the way that he is currently at this whatever he is right now out there giving it. He's not giving it his all. He's out there, and Nick Nurse commends him. I commend him too. It's time to sit down though.
Yep.
Because that's not Joel Embiid. Kyle O says, number first to dump Joe with Maxey attached. That's a lot, man.
Number of firsts? 0? I feel like Maxey's positive value, though.
He is positive value. Right now, Joel's value is shot.
Very negative value.
So,
literally might be the worst contract in the league, which sucks, but is the truth until he shows that he's not this. That's a good question. It's also very depressing.
Very much so. Very much so. Let's go to Kyle again with the question. Nets Mount Rushmore after tonight's game. I couldn't get to 4.
First one that comes to mind for me is Julius Erving and Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd. Yeah.
Who else we got?
I would go, Mount Rushmore for the Nets. Julius, Jason Kidd. Do you then go... Got to go back in the day.
I'm trying to look up. Okay, here's their all-time. Buck Williams is their leader in win
I
shares.
thought about it, but I was like, no.
So the next three are, I'm not sure that you can get the four if you're not including Buck Williams, because the fourth leading player, the 4 through 8 in.
Can I guess?
In win shares? Yeah, you can guess.
But do I have to get them in order? Can I just guess?
No,
them?
you can just guess them.
Kerry Kittles.
Yes. 6th.
Richard Jefferson.
4th.
Vince Carter.
7th. This is pretty good.
Derek Coleman.
9th. One more. This is unbelievable. Or sorry, 8th.
8th.
So you're missing one guy in the 4 to 8 range.
Richard Jefferson, Vince Carter, Derek Coleman.
Kerry Kittles in DC.
Kittles.
What pulls?
Yeah. You said Buck Williams already?
Buck Williams is not. He's number 1.
He's number 1. So I would say old school or more newer school? Like really newer?
I'm not going to give you that much.
Kenya Martin?
No, good guess. Brooke Lopez.
Huh. Wow. Seemed like they lost a lot when Brooke Lopez was there.
Yeah, he was scoring in the post though.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll take 4 out of the 5 or 3 out of the 4, whatever I had, 4 out of the 5. Wow, that's not great though.
No, that's fair.
For their Mount Rushmore?
That's not a great Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. You kind of just leave the 2 there by themselves, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put anybody. Oh, somebody said Billy Melchione. You know, respect. Where's he at?
Is he on there? Yeah, number 12. Wow, that's extremely old school.
That is old school. Yeah. Between he and DC, those would probably be the ones that I would say, okay, right?
I mean, at least DC was like.
And we're talking Nets DC. We're not talking Sixers DC. We're blank check because I'm going to eat.
At least DC was in like the 90s. Billy Melchione. I mean, this picture's in black and white.
Yeah, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Represent. All right. Let's get to the player of the game in this one. Tyrese Maxey. Bree went with Tyrese Maxey on this one. She's not wrong.
Sure.
The only other argument would have been Quentin Grimes because of how well he played overall, especially in the second half, defensively, hitting some shots, getting to the basket, finishing. 31 points for Maxey, though, which is a game high. 5 for 11 from 3, 6 for 6. Perfect from the foul line. 5 assists. And he got the 31, man, and it didn't even feel like he had 31 tonight, but he was good. Just wasn't enough. Wasn't his fault.
He was scoring down the stretch, man.
Yeah. He hit that 3 to tie it up, but unfortunately, nobody put a body on Nic Claxton to get to the finish. He's the one that forced the overtime, and it did not happen, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Let's
do the roll call.
Let's get ready to say it's roll call time, folks. Tough night. Buzzer beater, man. 2 points, buzzer beater. Joel Embiid might need to shut it down for the rest of the season. You know what? Roll call. What up, Joel? We hit you pretty hard tonight, man. But you got to shut it down, my friend. Want to see you back at some level of, that's the guy I know a little bit right there.
I just don't want to watch that.
It's not there. It's not there. All right, so let's get ready to say thank you. And we appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Start off with Winona. Hey, Nona, happy birthday. Hope you had a good birthday.
Happy birthday.
What was that, Friday? Yes, yesterday. Her birthday was yesterday.
Had one of those cupcakes that
yes, we did.
That Jess made Nona.
Yes, we did. So
Wonderful.
Happy birthday, Winona. Hope you had a fantastic birthday. Vincent Salamentino joining us here, and Vincent Pellegrini.
Absolutely.
Look at that.
We got the double Vincent.
We got the double Vinny tonight.
By the way, I'm going to say this too. I appreciate everybody who's in here, even if you're coming at me and we're
talking sports.
And we disagree and we're talking about sports like you. Philly J, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate all of you. This has been sports. This team. Whew, this is a tough watch right now. So we appreciate.
That's why we say shout out to all of you.
We appreciate all of you kicking it with us because this is I get it.
Yeah. This was tough. Igavini, what up? Igavini, MPTR. Flyers got to learn how to lose also. Well, they do their fair share, but they're
Jess didn't make the cupcakes. Whatever. She probably just bought them. Whatever.
But we had the cupcakes. We appreciate it. Tish. Oh, Tish. We appreciate it. Thank you for checking it. X-Man. What up, X? Good to see you in there. X,
what up,
as
X?
always, we also have hanging out with us here Jeffrey Stewart, Igavini, Money Mar, Larry K, Philly J, as Rich mentioned. What up, Jay? We also see in there, Drezito says RJ for the Mount Rushmore.
Well,
I mean, he was on the list, but
he literally is forced. So,
but
yeah,
but I see. I can
he
see
doesn't.
it.
I love Richard Jefferson.
We're just talking
too.
about Mount Rushmore.
He seems like a great dude.
Yeah,
I found it very funny when he moonlit as a ref in NBA Summer League. I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
He turned out to be a pretty good analyst.
He is a pretty good analyst as well.
Really good analyst.
Doesn't exactly feel like a Mount Rushmore level player to me.
Arizona? No, he's not even Arizona. If you get multiple Rushmores there, Arizona, because they have so many great players.
Yeah.
But no, not here. But thank you though, Dresito. We appreciate that. DJ, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream that the Sixers can win some games and Joel Embiid is healthy. We would appreciate that. What up, Sandman? We appreciate that. Scott Sotan kicking it with us here tonight on a Saturday as well. John, Sir Shmooey, SB Cole, Kamel. I think the problem that is Embiid wants to keep playing. I agree. He wants to keep playing, but if it's like that, he needs to shut it down. Marcus Blackstock, thank you for the super chats. We appreciate you, my friend. SB Cole, what up, SB? And that's all I think I'm able to get to here. I did not write my list tonight.
That's fine. Anybody who
Kevin,
left,
you too.
Anybody who left a comment in the chat, thank you.
Yes, who were the super chats? We had Marcus Blackstock. We had Kyle O, Philly J, Bernard, and Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats. We thank you all. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that like button for us. I'm looking at it right now, and the like button, what are we at? I don't like it.
Bump it up.
35. I don't like 37. Still don't like it. Bump that thing up there.
On your way out,
like
please.
and subscribe, and hit the bell icon. And when you do, you will get the alert. John Peace. What up, Peace? That it will be showtime, and it sounds just like that. Folks, this was a tough one. 2-point loss at the buzzer. It's what it is. This has been the season. We thank our presenting sponsor, as always, Bet365. Make sure you download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Super producer Bree. She was fantastic.
Fantastic, as always.
Production excellence from Bree here tonight on a Saturday. We expect nothing less. She's the best. That's how we get the show done. We thank Kyle joining us from the arena. We thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you, Bree. Rich, always fun, man. We'll be back on Monday.
See you Monday.
What time is the game? I think it's back to 7 o'clock.
That's got to be a 7 o'clocker, right?
Against Chicago, it better be a 7 o'clocker. 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame. That's why she is the best. Bree letting us know. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Have a great Sunday. And we will see you at 6:30 on Monday for Sixers Bulls. The question I have for all of you, will Joel Embiid be in the lineup?
It's a good question, man.
We'll have that answer maybe at 6:30 on Monday. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.